again one day. But at the end of the day, I think that giving that surviving spouse peace of mind of knowing it's done and we've done it together is a fantastic gift, Jack. So that would be my message to your son.
So what? So he needs a will.
At a minimum, I think everyone should at least have a will, but that's why we offer a complimentary consultation. So sort of in the privacy of the office, Jack, we can walk through the more intimate details and kind of size each client up. Estate plans are like snowflakes, Jack. They're no two are exactly the same. So I think at the end of the day, that's what that consultation is for, is to sort of see what is going to be not just a fit, but what's going to be the optimal fit for your son's family.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Jack, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. All righty, You're listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith, and it's just as easy as Jack made it look. You call in with your question, we give you the very best answer we can live over the air. 877-943-9673. That's your toll-free number. Give us a call now, live and local, 877-943-9673. And you can email your question, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com, or give us a call, 877-943-9673. All right, let's go to beautiful Sun City Center and let's talk to Mary. Mary, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary.
I'm full-time. I'm a resident of Florida. I still go back up north, but only for a couple months. What is your income limitation to qualify for the homestead rebate for your taxes, real estate taxes?
You said, what is your income limitation?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that there is an income limitation.
Because I thought I read someplace that if you make a certain dollar figure, and I can't remember what it is, that disqualifies you from asking for the homestead rebate.
No, your homestead exemption under Florida Statute 196 would be based on whether or not the property is your primary residence. So, and in that analysis, it's usually the 6 month plus a day rule. So if you're there in that home 6 months plus a day, I think you're in good shape there. And I don't think that income really has, it factors into it one way or the other.
And where do you get the form for the homestead rebate?
So what you would do is go down to the property appraiser's office, and oftentimes it's easiest if you just ask for the head exemptions officer. And the head exemptions officer is that's sort of like the manager of all the exemptions. And they're familiar not only with the homestead exemption, but like the widower's exemption or the widow's exemption, the veteran's exemption, disability exemption, all those exemptions. This is the person who's in charge of all that. So I would just ask for the head exemptions officer, and they can walk you through the necessary steps for you to qualify.
Okay, would that be the one that's located by the DMV in Ruskin?
Yeah, I would call and I would check ahead of time, because a lot of times there are satellite locations you can go to as opposed to having to go to the county seat. But I would just call ahead and not only confirm the location, but I would confirm the list of what you need to bring as far as proof of residency and all that kind of good stuff, Mary.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Mary. Good luck to you, okay?
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye. You're listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith, and you can call in now, just like Mary did. 877-943-9673. Live and local open phone lines will get you and your question right on the air. And I can tell homestead's still on a lot of people's mind, and it's going to be on a lot of people's mind going into the first of the year, especially as people got those property tax bills and realized that maybe last year they didn't file their homestead exemption, and the property taxes on their properties jumped significantly because they didn't get that exemption filed. So they got a rather rude reminder to get that exemption filed timely this year. And you may have a homestead question, just like Mary did. 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673, or you can email your question, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. Again, email your question, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com, or give us a call now. Open phone lines, 877-943-9673. All right, back to Peter, the intern, who has another email question for us. Go ahead, Peter.
This next email question is, should I file my quitclaim deed now or have my trustee do it after I pass away?
It's a great question. It's one you commonly hear at the office. People say, especially this time of the year, we will get a flurry of phone calls from people saying, Patrick, I thought we did a trust. And I was pretty sure we put the home in the trust, but I just got my property tax bill, and the bill's still in my individual name. It's not in the name of my trust. And that's because you'll notice that the deed has not been filed with the county. And a lot of times, clients choose to leave the deed unrecorded. Number one, because under the statute 689.073, the deed is effective the moment it was signed, sealed, and delivered. Recording it makes it a public record. So clients have the option of having that deed recorded post-mortem once they pass by a successor trustee. You say, why do that? Why wait that time? It keeps the trust off the public record a little bit longer until it's absolutely necessary. And at that point, once you've passed and the trust is made public, it's not a big deal because the trust is leaving, or the property is leaving the trust, so it's not in the trust very long publicly, and it's on its way out, either being sold or distributed to the beneficiaries. So it's really a matter of clients' individual druthers, whatever they'd prefer. But I would say the majority of clients probably prefer to keep the trust private as long as possible. 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number. Give us a call now. We are here to help any way that we can. Open phone lines, 877-943-9673, or you can email your question, just like that person did, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. Email your question, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. You can also email your questions throughout the week. I always get a lot of email questions immediately after the radio show, and I do answer them. I check my own email as well, and you can email me throughout the week with your questions. Again, that email address is good 24/7, and maybe you just think of something during the week and you want to shoot me a quick email. You can always do so, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. And again, you're always welcome to call me at the office during the week as well. I still return all my own calls, 877-754-6764. That's your number to be part or to call into the office and to ask a question directly during the week. If a topic pops up and you say, hey, I need to ask Patrick a quick question, 877-754-6764. So multiple ways to get a hold of us. And again, you can always go to the website, attorneypatricksmith.com, and submit all your information there, and someone from the office will reach out to you. But again, to be part of today's program, still plenty of time left in the show, 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. And we would love to talk to you about your legal question this morning, whether it's estate planning related, maybe it's landlord-tenant related. We've sort of been all over the place today, and I really like those kind of shows. I think I've said that multiple times before, but the shows where we get to hop around and really test the boundaries of our legal knowledge are the more exciting shows. So we sort of started with a property rights issue, and then we sort of went all over the place with different topics into estate planning, spousal rights, intestacy. So lots of great topics today. All right, now let's go to Bradenton. Let's talk to Fred. Fred, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Well, thank you. My sister passed away in August.
Oh, Fred, I'm so sorry.
She had thank you. I paid her taxes this year, property tax. Now I'm thinking, she passed away. She had a homestead exemption. Is that still valid? Or do I have to pay regular property taxes if she did not have a homestead exemption?
It's a fantastic question. So she had a homestead exemption on the property, correct? While she was living, this was her primary residence?
Yes.
All right. So when she passed, did she have a will?
No.
Okay. Was she married?
No.
Any children?
No.
All right. Are her parents living?
No.
All right. And are you her only sibling?
No.
There are others.
I have a sister. Yeah, another sister and a brother.
So under the intestacy rules, it sounds like you and the other siblings are going to be the heirs to this property. And under the state constitution, there's something called the annulment clause. And the annulment clause says the moment your sister entered eternity, title inured to the lineal descendants. And under a Snyder v. Davis analysis, which is sort of the case that sets out this broad application of what a lineal descendant is, the actual issue in Snyder v. Davis was there was a immediate lineal descendant, and then there was someone who was like a remote lineal descendant that was left the property. And the question before the court was, when we say lineal descendant, do we mean the immediate one or any lineal descendant? And the court said, historically, we've given broad application to homestead protection. So any lineal descendant. Now, here it also happens to be the immediate lineal descendant, the siblings. So I think at the end of the day, the homestead exemption that existed on the property would inure to the surviving siblings, presuming that they also don't have their own homestead exemptions, because you can't have two primary residences. We talked about that a little bit a couple weeks ago. But as far as if your sister had any big creditors, like major credit card bills or medical bills, I don't think that those creditors would have much of a chance of coming after that property because of the constitutional annulment clause.
I see. Now, we both have lived in Florida. I live in Florida, and I have a homestead exemption. How does that change the situation?
Yeah, so I think that moving forward, it's going to affect your homestead on your sister's property, because obviously you won't be able to get that any longer. You can't have the two homesteads. But if you sell that property and turn it into cash, and you get a step up in basis, or check with a good accountant to make sure you pay any taxes on any realized gain, I think then the homestead issue goes away. I think it's only going to be an issue on your taxes if you're keeping the property moving forward.
I see. Okay, very good.
All right.
Thank you.
Fred, I'm sorry. I recently lost a sister too, Fred, so I understand what you're going through, and I'll say a special prayer for you and your family, okay?
Oh, thanks.
All right. God bless you, Fred. All right. You're listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith, and you can call in now, 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. Give us a call now. We're live and local, happy to help any way that we can. Email your question, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. All right, let's go to Sarasota and talk to Frank. Frank, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Thanks for your patience.
Good morning. Thank you.
Yes, Frank.
I'm looking for legal advice.
You've called the
I've
right
been
place, Frank.
Yeah. I recently have been receiving mail to somebody else at my address, and this has been going on for over a year or two. There's been applications for credit, and I receive information at my address that it was rejected. I get an offer for car shield for the person's car, everything going to my address. And recently, I understand that a checking account has been opened in that person's name with my address. And I'm very concerned that, this is not fair, not right, not legal. And I don't know what to do, whether to call the police or get Attorney Patrick to give me some advice.
Well, I think if you think your identity's been stolen, that's a crime. So I definitely would file a police report if you think someone's doing something. But it doesn't sound like they've really stolen your identity. It sounds like they've just started using your address. So maybe it would be a matter of contacting these institutions on your behalf to say, hey, look, I've received correspondence on behalf of so-and-so, informing me that, they reside at this address, and I'm the property owner here, and I'm letting you know they don't. And maybe that's what you do in that situation. But if you believe identity theft has been involved, I think, Frank, definitely file a police report and get that on a record that you think someone's trying to steal your identity. Otherwise, I would, mark the mail as non-deliverable. That person doesn't reside there. Leave it in the mailbox. The postal worker will update the records accordingly, and if they continue to persist, I think maybe that direct correspondence directly to the institution saying this person does not reside at this address, so correct your records and update accordingly, something to that effect.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Because I also received at my address some other information from somebody else. It looks like the Sarasota County Fire Department went out and serviced this person, and I'm getting bills. So I'll do the same thing with that, right?
Yeah, I think if it's a matter of it's in their name, not your name, but it's your address, I think I would just, notify them that this person does not reside at this address. They should update their records accordingly. But if anything comes in your name and it's not your debt or your obligation or your bank account, that's definitely identity theft, and that needs to be reported as a crime, Frank.
Okay, well, I will check the records and make sure that my home is, still in my name.
Yeah, I mean, the property records, it's easy to check. You can just pull up the property appraiser site and, check the latest deed to make sure there's not been any fraudulent deed activity. But at the end of the day, it's a big step between someone using your address on a form when they fill out a bank app versus fraudulently executing a deed. I mean, both can be true, but one does not make the other true necessarily, Frank. But you're smart to be cautious here, so that's wise.
Right, and it seems to me like it's fraud.
There's definitely something wrong. Whether it meets the criminal elements of fraud, we're a couple steps away from that, but it's definitely worth protecting yourself. I would call the police and let them know, and that way at least they've got some sort of report. And in addition to that, I would, mark the envelopes to the postal worker that this person does not live here, and they can update their records. And then if they persist, just correspondence directly to the third party saying, hey, look, I don't know how you've come to think that this person resides here, but they do not.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking that it also might, if the county or the city gets hold of this information, it may hurt my homestead, which you've been talking about. They might suspect that somebody is living here or renting here, which would hurt my homestead.
A remote possibility, but again, I mean, I definitely think homestead's worth protecting, and I think you want to stay ahead of the curve on this, Frank, so I think that's a wise approach.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Have a great Saturday, okay? All right, you're listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith, 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number to be part of our program. Open phone lines, get you and your question right on the air, 877-943-9673, or email your question, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. All right, let's go to beautiful Imperial Polk County, Florida, into Lakeland, and let's talk to Dan. Dan, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Thank you.
Hey, Dan.
My question is a HOA question. I live in a community of about 600 homes, and they changed contracts with the people that mows our yards last March, I think. They're using improper equipment on some of the yards that are smaller than others and tearing the yards up. They're getting all kind of complaints. They're getting written letter complaints, and the HOA board they're not doing anything. And so finally I just went out a week ago and bought my mower, and so I'm mowing my own yard now to keep them from tearing it up anymore. So my question is that they're still taking whatever part money to do my yard and all out of my HOA fees. So I guess my question is, there some way that I could get them to reimburse me for the equipment that I just had to buy? And not only that, with me keeping my own yard up.
So, first of all, Dan, I'm sorry to hear about that. That's a unfortunate situation to find yourself in. And the HOA cases out there, there's plenty of them that have a lot of dramatics. The long and short of it is, with HOAs, it's like any other contract case. You're going to live and die by the words on the page. So your HOA has something called bylaws. And those are the rules that govern your particular homeowners association. What you need to do is get a copy of those bylaws. If you want to give us a call, we can take a look at them with you. I've done a few of these over the years, and I can at least let you know where you stand. I don't really do a lot of HOA cases. I have attorneys that I work with who do, and if it goes beyond just understanding where you are and what your rights are, I can put you in touch with those attorneys. But get me a copy of your bylaws, Dan, and I'll take a look at them with you, okay?
Yeah, I was thinking that, if I had an attorney, I'd just send them a letter that it might get their attention along with all the other people living in here, and they might, say, okay, we need to redo this.
Yeah, all that's going to happen really is they're going to get it and they're going to send it to their attorney. because the HOA has an attorney more than likely, and then the two attorneys are just going to have to hash it out. But again, the two attorneys are going to know real quick that we're going to go by what the bylaws say. So we got to play by the rules. So I think before we start firing off any letters, let's figure out where we are versus where we want to
Okay.
be so that we put together the most efficient path to success, Dan.
Okay, and so how do I get those to you?
So I'll give out the office phone number here in just a moment. So get a pad and pen ready, and I will give you that number. You can call the office, and any of the young ladies who answer will be happy to give you my email, fax, or if you want to snail mail it to us, however you want to get it to us, Dan, we'll get them and we'll take a look at them and go over them with you, okay?
Unfortunately, I'm out walking right now, and I don't have a pencil and paper.
Well, that's okay. Just remember Attorney Patrick Smith, and you can pull that up on the internet later, attorneypatricksmith.com, and it's really easy to find
I
me,
can
okay?
do that. I can do that.
Enjoy your walk,
Thanks a
okay,
lot.
Dan? Yes, sir. All right,
All
you're
right.
listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. You can give us a call now, 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673, or email your question, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. To reach us at the office during the week to schedule your appointment, whether it's in Polk County or here in Pinellas in Seminole County, or if you want to schedule down in Hillsborough at Sun City Center, the number 877-754-6764, 877-754-6764, and the staff will be more than happy to get you scheduled for your complimentary consultation. To talk to us this morning, 877-943-9673. All right, let's go to Sarasota and talk to Fred. Fred, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Hello and good morning, Attorney Smith. How are you?
I'm great, Fred. How's Sarasota today?
Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful. Just getting off early work, and it's going to be a good day.
All right.
Several years ago, after my dad passed, my mom sold her house that we've been in since the 50s to my sister, my brother, and myself as a life estate. And from what I can tell, that's never really intended to be sold after that, but it was. I moved my mom down with me to Sarasota, and we just closed on the house about a week or so ago. We got the proceeds checks a couple of days ago, and my question for you, Attorney Smith, is how do we find out what our individual tax liabilities are? We sold an approximately $240,000 house. We each got checks saved for in the neighborhood of $50,000 or so. And before I go spend the last amount of it, like we've paid off debt already, charge cards are now zero for the first time in a long time, and some other things. But I'm aware of potential tax liability, and I wondered how I find out what our individual tax liabilities are. Like for my mom, it was her principal residence, so I would imagine she's safe. But for the other three of us that have our own homes and receive checks for selling the house, I wondered how we determine that, please.
Right. It's a great question. So at the end of the day, like we talked a little bit about last week, there's four major transfer taxes. There's the estate tax, there's the gift tax, there's generation skipping transfer tax, and you're dealing with the most popular one, Fred, the income tax. The best advice I can give you is get with a good accountant or CPA, because the magic number you're looking for is what a number establishes the basis in the property. That number will determine what the realized gain was on the sale. And
Because, Attorney Smith, I realize I read there's no stepped-up basis for it if it's not your principal residence. Is that correct?
so in this particular case, right, it's not your principal residence. You're not reinvesting in a new homestead property. So the basis would have been your purchase price for the property, or if it was gifted to you by mom, the value of the property at the gift. So it's going to be a little bit of CPA artistry to determine what that basis is, and so they can determine the appropriate amount of realized gain.
I see, because originally, believe it or not, I mean, it was a $100 mortgage that my parents had a tough time paying.
Wow.
And that was throughout the 50s, 60s, and finishing in the 70s. And so I imagine it's something like a $10,000 house. Will they use that whole different? I mean, I imagine is it 100 something like that?
Yeah, I don't know is the short answer to that. But with regard to the specifics, just reach out to a good accountant. And if you don't have one, Fred, give me a call at the office. I'll put you in touch with some very good accountants who will get you that information. But I applaud you for not spending the money before you've paid the taxes. I wish that was the protocol for more people. And I think that you're handling it very wisely to get ahead of the curve.
Well, thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Fred. All righty, this is Attorney Patrick Smith. You've been listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. If you want to reach us during the week, the law office number, 877-754-6764, 877-754-6764, or email me, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. This is Attorney Patrick Smith signing off, saying stay safe, God bless, and go Gators.